Have you recently had a breakup? Are you heartbroken, pissed, or confused about how you should be feeling? Or about how you actually feel? Are you suddenly remembering or just uncovering some facts, some truthfuls that lead you to believe that this person that you were with was toxic and you're just questioning whether or not anything in the relationship was real? Possibly worse, are you no longer in contact with this person, or are you not allowed to contact this person? Long story short, you're not talking to this person and you just want to ask them these questions, these things that you're finding, and you just can't. And it's just driving you insane. Because that's your boy right now. And if you're feeling the same way, then this video might be just for you. So stay tuned. What's up, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in for another installment of Dating with Mental Illness, which obviously sucks. At least it sucks right now. It doesn't always suck, and it doesn't always have to suck. I'm a little bit peeved because I've recorded this video, I don't know, so many times now, and I just have not gotten it right. Specifically, I'm struggling with, I think I still have a lot of strong feelings about what went down. I'm not gonna recap a whole bunch. If you wanna see, check out the videos I uploaded. They're super long, but they're super full of like everything that happened, so you'll catch up real quick. For the sake of this video and for your understanding though, December was a rocky month for us. I think that I was going through a lot. My grandmother had passed away. So a lot of life hardships had happened upon me, and that kind of stressed our relationship just due to being stressed. And they had the conversation with me saying like, hey, I think you have a lot going on in your life. I have a lot going on in my life. I think we should slow things down and, you know, really focus on doing this right, because we had broken up before, you know, so doing this the right way moving forward so that we don't fuck it up. With that understanding, we had continued to talk very little, but enough so to the point where it conveyed the message to me. You know, we were making soft plans. I was saying like, well, maybe we can do this, or maybe we can do this, make up time for the holidays in December, blah, 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 blah. Instead, I guess they had been trying to move on with other people because they ended up being in a full-blown relationship without telling me. So the only conversation or only knowledge that I had was that we're slowing things down. When I tried to reach out to them, they did not answer the phone. They were essentially ghosted me. I was not able to get a hold of them. I had to find out things through friends or through Instagram. They hid their Instagram stories, so like I wasn't able to see, but my friends told me. And when I finally did get a hold of them, like 2 weeks later, the only thing they had to say was that I'm seeing somebody else now. So, shocker right there. And of course, you know, it wasn't conveyed to me until I had to literally pry it out of them, or until I literally had to track them down. I never contacted them between that time after finding out that they were in a relationship. I never, you know, begged, quote unquote, for them back. I never said like I never expressed my anger there. I never said that we should talk about us. I never said like, hey, what about us? What am I supposed to do? That conversation never happened this time. I essentially said, wow, you move on fast. And I didn't talk to them for about a week and a half or whatever. Like I just didn't talk to them because there was no need to talk to them. They said all that they had said. And when I did reach out to them, it was purely about, you know, getting my glasses, my blue light glasses that they had back from them. Like I wanted my shit back. And they said that me reaching out to them in any capacity, especially in that way, was inappropriate, and that they were like pissed about that. So added to the fact that they ghosted me reaching out to them about something, it just felt like very much like, wow, a year and a half of us knowing each other and this is how we end things. Like, fuck me, right? Obviously, breakups are, you know, messy sometimes, or, you know, there's always gonna be some sense of loss, some sense of sadness. That's like expected. That's not my issue here, I don't think. The big thing for me has been, as somebody who has a host of mental illnesses, part of that is I struggle a lot with attachment, in terms of just broadly speaking, an attachment disorder. And what that means is I have a hard time letting go. I don't deal with loss very easily. It's hard for me just because people in my life have died throughout my childhood. My mother was in and out of my life, abruptly coming in and then disappearing for no reason at all. So this has really simulated, especially the ghosting part, like the not talking part and not telling me part, really simulated, okay, somebody that I cared about and that I loved and I thought that cared about it and loved me has just disappeared, and I can't wrap my brain around why they would do that if they really did care and love me. You know, I'm not saying this person has to stay with me forever and like never leave me, but it's like, if you say if you felt the way you say you did, then you would have had that conversation as soon as you started talking to somebody else, or it just would have looked a lot differently. You would have answered my phone calls. You'd have done things different. It goes back to like, okay, that was so soon after, and it's like you're just completely with somebody new. You're not, like, it makes me feel as though this person's not thinking of me at all. Like, how do you not think of me at all in such a short time frame? It brings back a host of emotions that, obviously this is very painful, but it's then connecting it back to all of the things that were painful throughout my childhood. And on top of that, there's more. I've told this person about my triggers, that being a trigger, and I've told this person about my past. They know all of these things, so it's like, how do you still do this, even knowing that, like, oh, Julius is probably gonna feel this way, or Julius has all of these things. I don't care. I'm just gonna do this anyway. You know, at least have the conversation with me, at least like pick up the phone and tell me, at least like break it off officially. Don't like agree to tentative soft plans and, you know, act like everything's okay and then just disappear. Like, why? How could you do that? And on top of that, this person also knows, you know, as somebody who has trouble dealing with loss and having these attachment issues, my grandmother had passed away. They also know that recently my best friend has done a similar thing in terms of ghosting. That's like a whole nother issue, a whole nother video. But one of my best friends throughout high school, like for the past 8 years essentially, or 9 years I guess, maybe longer, they're gone. I don't know where they are. None of us knew. Just gone. So knowing that I've already subsequently had, you know, my grandmother, another friend, and now this, it's like, why? Why would you, like, were they not thinking about this at all? Did they not realize that this would be extremely difficult and painful? So painful that I'm having physical reactions that are disproportionate to maybe how I should be feeling. That means having extreme anxiety, having panic attacks, having, but I believe bouts of, you know, depression, just really spiraling to the point where I'm just like, I've suffered a lot of loss in the last few weeks, and last time this happened, I was put in a partial hospitalization program. So I hate saying it because I actually feel embarrassed saying it. Like, I feel embarrassed having to give this person my power, like this power, but it feels like I've been abandoned, and like I guess I have because they ghosted me and then cut me off. But I don't want to say that because it, like, if I say it feels like I've been abandoned, which it does, it means that like I need this person. Which I feel like I do. And you can see why that's embarrassing. In a nutshell, it's all the actions that they did, but then it's also like being fully aware of the actions that they did, and, you know, or at least being fully aware of the impact their actions would have on me. And that's just like, that blows my mind. Not only have they cut me off in terms of communication, they say I can't contact them even about like my shit, so we don't talk. They blocked me on Instagram. So, I mean, I could see their Instagram through another account, but, like, I have no way of looking into their life, theoretically. I blocked them on Instagram because I was like, screw you. I was pissed or whatever. I was being petty. And they used another Instagram account to look at me, and I knew it was their Instagram account. So I blocked that one. And then they used another one, and so I blocked that one. It was, like, at least 4 Instagram accounts that I went through. And because we're not friends on Instagram, I know that they have to literally search my name or whatever it is, go to my page, and then look at my story. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know I post a lot. So that means that this person is consistently typing in my name and looking at it throughout the day. If anything, I think that's more inappropriate than me calling about my shit, right? Like, and it also feels very controlling. Like, I'm not allowed to look into your life, but you have to look into my life. Like, what are you, I don't understand. Like, it's driving me crazy. Obviously, this is based on your situation, but I don't believe necessarily in blocking people or blocking like my exes, because I mean, most times when I've ended relationships, you know, it's just been like, things don't work out. It hasn't really ended in a fiery argument. I even had an ex text me, you know, a week ago after seeing some of my videos, and they were just like, wow, I'm just wanting to know I'm rooting for you, and you deserve a lot better, and I hope that you find happiness. You know, I consistently check up on them. Now, obviously, it might take some time to get to the point where you're comfortable with being acquaintances or being friends because things are weird. But this is just a first for me. Obviously, if the person is doing toxic shit, you block them. And like, I'll admit, I did use other accounts to see, you know, their Instagram story, to see also who they're dating. Like, I've done that. I think we all kind of just do that. It's embarrassing, but like, yeah, sure. It's 2021. That's like how we do petty shit now. But it got to the point where I was like, all right, I'm like not about to go through this with you. Like, I'm not doing this. Not only did you know I have these triggers and you ended things the way you did, and you've done all this stuff throughout the relationship to agitate my triggers, but you're also now watching me suffer, literally, because I'm posting about how things have been hard and how I'm working through it. Now you're just like watching me suffer. So it's like, what? And like, without even saying anything, like, at least say like, hey, I didn't realize I did all these things. Like, I still don't think we should talk, but sorry. Somehow, as it relates to just my attachment, I feel as though maybe they wouldn't have left in the way that they did if they just understood how much I cared, how much their actions impacted me, and how hurt I was, and not like, again, not just hurt because the normal hurt, more so like I am quite literally hyperventilating, having asthma attacks. I feel as though, you know, within those panicking times, I feel as though I want to die, or that I can't continue life, because it's just that painful. Obviously not telling them that, because that's, I know you can't really, one, tell people that. It's kind of, it gets into a little toxic area. But then also realizing that even if I did tell them this, I've explained this to them countless times. They already know these things, so they clearly don't care. And on top of that, even if, you know, they did care and they said they were sorry, would that make me feel better at the end of the day? Would that stop the attacks? Probably not. Would we get back together? Probably not. Like, they did what they did because they wanted to. They're in a full-blown relationship. That wouldn't solve anything, which is the really, really shitty part. I mentioned contacting them about my blue light glasses. Again, needing them because as having bipolar disorder, you know, light therapy, all of that jazz. If you don't know, Google light therapy for bipolar disorder. You'll find out. Contacting them about that and having not spoken to them since I found out that they were dating somebody new. You know, I was trying to see what this relationship would become, giving them space and then having them come to me. They never did. But just, in my opinion, not doing anything that was terribly wrong besides asking for my shit back. I can't understand the anger that was coming off of them. Like, I don't know what I did within that time period that would have caused them to be, like, the way that they said we can't talk anymore, and that the way that they were upset about me contacting them for me to get my things back. They made it seem as though it was not okay. I don't know, there was anger radiating off of them. They seemed to be very angry at me, and that I just didn't understand why either, because, you know, I understood they were angry at the end of December when we had our little conversation, but from there on, it seemed like things were getting better. I actually ended up bringing them tacos because I knew that they were sick. We were supposed to eat the tacos together. I thought we would eat it together, but when I went there to their place, they seemed a little bit off, and they said that they've just been busy talking to friends. Like, they probably were talking to this person, which makes me feel really stupid because it's like I was trying to make up for things like I said I was, bringing them food, maybe having longer discussions, and instead, you know, I was just left out of the loop from understanding. But I want to know, like, what did I do that was so terrible? So, because it's not only did they, like, it makes me feel as though now it's, well, I know that they left because it's my fault or whatever, but it makes me feel as though now I'm, like, not a good enough person in a sense, I guess, and that's why people leave me in my life. You know, I can't help people dying, but it makes me feel like as though I'm not worthy, or there's no value that I provide to these people, or that I'm doing something inherently wrong that's going to continually make people leave. And that's what I'm trying to understand, and what keeps ruminating in my mind. I want to know, like, up until New Year's, we were on the track to make things almost official. We were going to have a conversation about it, and that was the general feeling between both of us. And then within a week, that deteriorated. In addition to that, 1.5 years of our relationship deteriorated within a week and was replaced with somebody else. So it's just like, what did I do? And that was never explained to me. It was kind of just like, it was literally explained to me as them saying, yeah, I'm talking to somebody else. And then the next conversation was, like, why are you even talking to me right now? Like, why are you trying to contact me? Like, bye. So it's just like, did I do something that, like, maybe I don't remember, or like, I'm questioning myself in all of this. Like, what could I have done? I think along with the timeline aspect of things, like the idea that I mean, it's been like a month now, so, a little bit more time has gone by. I feel a lot better than I did 3 weeks ago. But with all of this happening within 2 weeks, them getting with somebody else, like my world turning, everything I know turning upside down in such a short amount of time. Along with that, it's also just, I've dated other people, and I've dated. I know how that goes. And it takes time, It takes, like, unless you're just really fast, I suppose, but it takes time to get to know somebody. It takes time to, from my understanding, and people told me on, like, the stories on Instagram, this person had been staying at their place, like it was a very full-blown relationship, and it's like, okay, that happened quickly. How did that happen so quickly? Maybe you were moving fast, or maybe you were talking to this person like way before I even knew you were talking to this person. I don't know. But, like, in addition, I'm also now realizing and uncovering and remembering all of these instances that happened in our relationship in the past where I was accused of cheating with no basis. Again, I talk about that a lot in those videos that I did a few weeks ago, so check that out if you want to know more on that. But I never cheated, and I was always accused of being, like, unfaithful. They always thought I was, without any real substantial basis. Like, there was no, like, evidence. They just had, and they used to say this to me. They verbatim said, I don't know what it is, but I have, like, these strong feelings that you are doing something. And it's like, I mean, the mind is a powerful thing. If you think something, then it's true. But, like, I wasn't, and I literally didn't know how to explain to them that I wasn't. Like, there was nothing else I could say besides, it's not true. That time, not only were they accusing me, but they did some pretty sketch shit. Like, they accused me of cheating in December, which I didn't. But only a month before that, they had sex with somebody when I was on vacation in Texas. So someone different, obviously. And it's like, we weren't together throughout any of this, but we were repairing stuff. And then you get mad at me for something circumstantial, but, like, I find out that you actually did something, and I don't get mad. I'm just, like, obviously kind of sad about it, but, I'm moving past it. And it's just like, what? Beyond any themes of infidelity, it was just a common, like, reoccurring theme in our relationship in general. And again, they also admitted to this, because we had many discussions, that when they get angry, or when we get into fights, when they get angry at me, they typically do things to get back at me. And I tried to explain to them, like, why would you do things to hurt me? Like, explain to me what I did, because when I do things that hurt you, I don't know that I'm doing them. I would never try to hurt you or do anything purposefully, like, intentionally. The things that you see me doing that hurt you are things that I have no idea. Like, I don't know, genuinely, and I'm sorry for that. But, like, for you to do something to try to get back at me, like, that's just problematic, and there's just so many instances of that. Even now, I'm struggling with providing y'all with concrete examples. I want to tell y'all I want to list all of the things that they did. And in previous edits of this video, I literally wrote down, like, there's pages and pages and pages of me just writing down notes about, like, things that, like, examples of when this was true. And I feel as though I want to explain it, not to, like, call this person out necessarily, but to have somebody believe me, because this person made me believe it was my fault, and I used to always internalize it as being my fault. And regardless if they knew it at all, I think people, when they're dating someone with mental illness, they don't often see all of the work. It might not look like we're trying, but we are trying so hard to do the things that, they bring out, or they call out as problems. Like, I'm trying mentally. It's all mental, though. I just feel like I need to have somebody believe me that I'm not crazy, and that this is not my fault, and that, like, there is blame on both sides, I guess you could say. All the mental work that I was doing behind the scenes that I don't tell them I'm doing, that they might not necessarily see, but I have to mentally prep myself even for when they are here at my place, spending the night or whatever it is, because I have weird ass anxieties. Even that simple task, even though I love for them coming over, and I loved that, and I love seeing them, it's still hard on me for various weird ass reasons that I had to learn not to say because it would piss them off or make them feel some type of way. And rather than feeling some type of way, you know, and telling me and having a discussion on it, they would get angry and passive aggressive. My body would freeze up because I'd be like, oh shit, this person's gonna feel this type of way if I do this, but I can't help but do this because this is just what I'm doing now because of this illnesses. And it's like, it was a real point of just tension for me internally that I oftentimes would struggle with. And while I definitely want to be like, fuck this person, it's all their fault, and just tell y'all all the crazy, shitty things that they've done, I'm no saint. I know in like the deep depths of my heart, I know that I was not the easiest person to deal with. I know that dating somebody with any mental illness is challenging. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of trauma. I have bipolar disorder. I have anxieties that don't make sense. I know a lot of these things don't make sense. I know a lot of the things that I've done and a lot of the things, the rules I put into place, or I know that it's not unnatural for somebody to feel some type of way when dating somebody with these things. I wasn't expecting them to be okay with all of it, you know? I was expecting to have maybe more open, honest discussions about it. You know, I tried to preface a lot of my actions and a lot of my feelings with, hey, I know this doesn't make any sense, but I can't help but feel this way. Don't do things then that would hurt me because I can't help these things. I already feel bad that I'm doing them. I already feel bad that that's a thing, even though it might not seem like that, even when I'm super irritable and pissed off and a shitty person in terms of like what I say, or I'm angry or I'm flippant. Even through all of that, I feel bad about it, and it might not look like it to them, but like I am trying not to do those things. Like I'm trying to be a better person actively. I would hope that you wouldn't try to do things back at me on purpose. I think it's important, especially for me to say that I think I leaned on this person, you know, in terms of how I can better myself and make sure that the difference between being a toxic person and just engaging in toxic behaviors, in my opinion, because we all engage in toxic behaviors at some point. Once you become aware of it, once you're self-aware that like this is not good, you try to change it. You don't continually do it. That's when you are a toxic person. So now being aware of certain things, I think I leaned on this person a little bit too much. You know, maybe other people don't feel this way, but I definitely did. That you can't be your, I wouldn't say true self, but you can't be flippant at work. You can't, think of it like road rage. So when you're having road rage, it's typically not the person that cut you off. You're typically not mad about that. It's typically that you're stressed getting to wherever you're going because you're late, or, you know, maybe you're stressed because something bad happened at work, or, you know, you're driving to get your kid who fucked up at school, or, you know, there's other things going on in your life that make you go off on people. You can't let all your emotions out. You have to have composure in public or with people who might not understand what you're going through, or even friends, family, you know. No one is as close to you as your best friend or the person that you're dating, supposedly, or at least in this case. And I have to understand in the future with whoever I'm with or whatever, just in general, that the person I'm with is a person too. They have feelings, and that discussions and thinking about it in that logical way they have emotions, you know. They feel just as I feel, even if it's not as intensely, even if it's not irrational or as intensely. People are allowed to feel how they feel. I wasn't treating this person as a special person always, or as frequently as I should have, you know. I leaned on them because I felt as though they could take it, like they would understand, and that they know that I think that they're special and I think the world of them. But if you're not showing that at the same time, and you're allowed to have some leeway in this, but, you know, you can't take it too far. And while I don't think that this time, it happened consistently throughout our relationship and it was a problem, and while I think that I wasn't given enough leeway this time, I have to take a step back and realize that, okay, you know, there isn't a certain amount of time for this. Sometimes people just can't do it, you know, even if they're not living with all the things you're living with, because they still have feelings. Let the people know that they're special and that you do care. Otherwise, they bounce. There are so many other things I want to say, but this video is already long AF. And honestly, I'm just kind of over the whole thing. Like, they're not coming back. They've moved on with somebody else already. I'm dating somebody new, and I should give that a chance. Of course, I want this person back, and I think about this person all the time. But not only is it giving me panic attacks and, you know, causing physical and emotional hurt, it's like it's not gonna happen, so I gotta move on. So this might be my last video, I think, about this subject, at least with this person, because I'm just done. It's also weird to still be talking about this when I'm trying to date other people or date another person who I find really special. It's hard to admit this, but because I feel like if I do that, then it's officially done and over, and that, you know, there is no going back to how things were. And the fact that they see on Instagram how much this has been for me and all the things that I've been going through, and they know about all the things I was going through before this, the shit that happened in December, and they still haven't said anything. Like babe, they're fully aware of what's going on. They just don't care. So like, come on now, you gotta pick yourself up and come on. With that, it's time for me to go. If you liked this video, please give it a like if you took anything away from it. I know it's super long, but hopefully all of this has helped somebody out. If you want to comment anything, if you think I'm batshit crazy, let me know, because that helps me, honestly, it does. If you think that, you know, I'm on the right track, that also helps me, and helps me feel like I'm not crazy. Lastly, of course, subscribe for new videos each week. I've been pretty consistent on that, so I'm kind of proud of myself. But yeah, hope you stay amazing, hope you stay beautiful, and if you're going through the same thing as me, it gets better, hold your head up high, and just keep moving no matter what you do. Do not stop, because once you stop, you break down, and it's just over. Peace out, y'all.